Welcome to another episode of the Brown Bostonian, episode 16. I am your host, Kevin Parrington Turner. I know it's been a while. It's been a minute. A lot of things happen and like a lot of good stuff. But we back here. Power to the people. We back to do maintenance. Yeah, we've been get it rocking like crack when it came in. But we here. Well, first I moved, so I'm no longer in Rhode Island, which I was. Rhode Island from which is down the street pretty much from Boston where I grew up. So we here. I'm in the tri-state area. I'm enjoying it for sure. But enough of that. We gotta get back into what happened last night. The Celtics is back to the playoffs, the NBA playoffs. And hey man, I ain't gonna lie. The Celtics beat the Heat 102-88. Derrick White dropped 38 on their head tops. They take a 3-1 lead. And there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, I was worried when the Celtics had the Heat in the eighth seed. Not that they're the same Heat from last year that took the 3-0 lead over them and then they eventually beat them in game 7. They're not the same or the same bubble team that we saw a couple of years ago that beat the Celtics to eventually go to the finals before losing to the Lakers. How this isn't a team without Jimmy Butler. He's injured. We don't know if he's going to return. I doubt he returns. But nonetheless, this is still a team with Eric Spoelstra. First of all, I think going into this series, Eric Spoelstra is going to outcoach Joe Mazzulla the entire series. And so far, I was right. Don't get it twisted. Joe Mazzulla has done a great job. And, like, not to say all of the games that the Celtics have won, 3 of them, has been on Joe Mazzulla. Has been on the Celtics players alone. It hasn't been on Joe Mazzulla. He has. He made adjustments as you can see. It's 3-1, but he knows he has the stars on the team to go and figure it out. Last year when the Celtics took a 0-3 deficit, it took Marcus Smart, it took Jaylen Brown, it took Jason Tatum, all of them to finally be like, hey, we got to figure this out. And they did. They got back. They tied the series up, but they lost. And I think this one, Joe Mazzulla has made a lot of great adjustments, but it's been big on the players themselves. That's why they brought on Drew Holiday. That's why they kept Al Horford, who came up big last night in the game, played I believe 37 minutes. He hasn't played that. He has not played that. Let's see, let me tell you that. But Kristaps Porzingis went out in the second quarter, calf injury, calf tightness. He's going to get further evaluated today, get some imaging done. But he tweeted last night. He said, "Thank you for all the support. I'll be good." So I'm hopeful. I don't think he'll come back for game 5 at all. But nonetheless, he got out in the second quarter, and it was time for Al Horford to step up. Because as you can see, Joe Mazzulla did not put any centers, any bigs off that bench. He played just the guys he plays. Payne Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Al Horford. There was no not known guys on the court, which is kind of interesting because even though it's not an elimination game, you usually do see kind of some bench guys get in, around like the weird times in the quarter where you need your stars to get a break. But he knows this is the Heat. He knows we just got to get them out early. But nonetheless, this isn't about him. It's about Derrick White. Derrick White dropped 38 points. Not only did he knock down threes, he was defending, running back and forth. You can see through the whole series, like anytime that he got into a groove and he was on the bench, he wanted to get back in the game. Joe Mazzulla put him back in the game, and he instantly made an impact. Yeah, sure. I mean, Jason Tatum, he had a double-double. Jaylen Brown, he didn't do as well as we thought. Porzingis didn't do as well as we thought. But that I kind of expected that just because Bam Adebayo, who had 25 and 17 last night, he's a problem to deal with. Shout out to Kentucky. I'm a Kentucky fan. I don't know. Calipari's not there no more, so we'll see. Shout out to Bam. Bam's tough to guard. He's tough to defend. He's too much for Porzingis to handle already defensively. So I didn't imagine Porzingis doing too much offensively in this series. Besides hitting some threes here and there, cleaning up some boards when he gets a chance. But Bam's gonna take over the boards for the most part, unless everyone else crashes, and which they did last night. nonetheless, um, yeah, Porzingis played good. He played okay. Jalen Brown played okay. I listen. Like when you look at Tyler Hero, you look at Duncan Robinson. The way the Heat play defense, Jalen Brown never does good against teams that play tough on ball defense and really like will bump you off the screen and will put their hands on you on the off ball. Like he doesn't do good. He doesn't. We seen him against the Warriors in the finals with Draymond Green, with Andrew Wiggins. How like he just doesn't do good with with strong on ball defending teams. So it was on Jason Tatum. He still scored about 20 points. And Derrick White. I mean, I didn't expect him to score 38, but he's been playing like an all-star all season. All season. I think he deserved to be an all-star, obviously. You know, when you got Jason Tatum, you got Jalen Brown. And then it's kind of like, I mean, you could pick between Porzingis and you could pick between Derrick White. You know, Porzingis averaging like 20 this season too. And Drew Holiday, he's been a big step in terms of being a vet, you know. But you know, the Celtics they did the job. They got the job done. 3-1 in the series. They'll hope to end this Wednesday. Um to end this game in the series in 5 games. I hope they do because I don't want this to go for 6 or 7 games. Here's why. Do I think it will? Yes, unfortunately. Um, but here's why. I think the problem with the Celtics that I've seen, even when they made it to the finals a couple years back, they had multiple Game 7 series. That's a problem. That's a problem. A lot of times when you see teams that win the championship, that win the NBA Finals, they clean up in the early rounds. They get their rest. They handle business. They get them out in 4, 5. If the other team has enough pride, and they get to the finals. Now everyone's rested. Well, as rested as they can be. Everyone's hurt by that time, but they also have had a little bit of rest here and there. Not too many injuries where guys are really out, and there you go. So I think they need to finish this Wednesday back home in the Garden where they've been so good all the time. The Garden's gonna be rocking because it's the Heat, and this is a chance to get them away. The team that eliminated them last year, they got a chance to get away. I think Al Horford is gonna be the key. He's gonna be the key. Do I think he could play 40 minutes? I don't think he will. I think he'll play like again 37, 38, the high 30 minutes. I don't think he'll play like the 42, the 44. I could be wrong because he's been sitting out a lot this season. He's been good coming off the bench. It's not like he hasn't been playing. He's been playing, but Porzingis has been doing a lot of the work, and Joe Mazzulla has gotten his young guys in there when they can because they've been up so many games, blowing out teams. So Al Horford, he's been playing minutes, like he's in shape. I'm not questioning that, but he's gonna have to guard Bam Adebayo, which he can't stop him, but I do think he can get some stops, especially late in the game. I seen this last night. I saw the team defense that the Celtics displayed was extremely impressive, especially on Tyler Hero, who they held under 20 points. Duncan Robinson, who is a shooter, sharp shooter. They just been putting pressure on the screener in the on ball, the guard with the ball on the screen. They've been fighting through the picks. They've been connecting and switches. The switch has been crisp. It hasn't been late. Here and there, you do see a couple of late, late switches, and that equals to like a Patty Mills 3 or a Martin 3 to corner. And it's that's going to happen here and there, but for the most part, the team defense the Celtics have displayed has been pretty impressive, and I think that's why they have a 3-1 lead now. Yeah, the Celtics shoot threes incredibly well, and that's also been a big point. But that's just who they are now. I mean, no team can go in there hoping that we'll defend, we'll put a hand up, and hopefully they won't make the shot. They're gonna make the shots. So, and best believe Eric Spoelstra doesn't want to go out like this. He knows there's not much he can do, but they're gonna put up a fight in Boston. And best believe if they win in Boston Wednesday, It's going to be havoc on ESPN. It's going to be havoc on TV. It's going to be havoc everywhere. Even if the Celtics win, still win the series. It takes 6 to 7 games, which the season done with the Hawks too. It's taking way too long last year. Like it just happens. And I think that's just a little bit of immaturity. But now they have Drew Holiday and Al Horford to kind of change that. I think I see a little different Celtics team. I do think they pull it out and win the game. But nonetheless, man, Derrick White, 38 points. He came up huge. And I also want to talk about about a little bit over 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Heat bring it down to 13 points. The Celtics were leading by 13. A foul was called on the screen on Derrick White. Not on Derrick White. Derrick White was setting the screen. Jason Tatum had the ball. Ref called the foul. Jason Tatum went for a shot. He landed on Bam's foot because Bam contested after the whistle. Bam was given a flagrant one. Al Horford pushed him defending Jason Tatum, and then he got a technical, and Tyler Hero missed a free throw. Jason Tatum made 2. He stayed in the game. He seems to be fine. He said at the press game, he's fine. Now, that changed the entire look on the game. I mean, yeah, the Heat were down the entire game, but the Heat was making a comeback, as they usually do. They make a surge. They make a last-second surge, see what they can do at the end of games, and it was working. You know, the Celtics, I mean, they were up 30 at one point, but the Heat kept fighting. They kept fighting. And that's just a testament to the Heat's toughness and the Celtics' lack of depth, even with Porzingis. It was happening. It happened game 1. But I want to talk about the flagrant. Van Gundy, he was commentating that game. He said, I don't blame Bam. I mean, that's a little bit on Jason Tatum for taking the shot after the whistle to try to get a warm up. No, you're going to get contested. I agree. I disagree that I don't think it's on Jason Tatum that he got his ankle rolled, but it's definitely not on Bam. You got to remember a couple games back before the regular season ended. I forgot who it was against. Joe Mazzulla did the same thing. It was a timeout. He contested a shot. He contested a shot on an opposing play. The coach did. I mean, Jason Tatum didn't make too much of a fuss about it either. So I don't think it'll be too much of a big thing. But Bam was pissed after the game. He was still talking to the refs. It was on TV. As he should. That changes the whole look on the game. They was making a comeback. Now, granted, Tyler Hero, who has been missing free throws, missed a free throw, missed one. He only had one. Then Jason Tatum made 2, and the Celtics got the ball back, and then they went on a run, and that was just the game. Like the Heat looked kind of like, well, we tried after that. And then Derrick White kind of started to put the nail in the coffin himself, too. Jason Tatum also kind of came alive. Listen, I think Chris Haynes said before the game, Bam Adebayo had a team meeting right after game 3 with the Heat. And he said, we can't go out like this. That's just who the Heat are. You know, some of their, the personnel, there's not much they can do. But I think after this, the Heat will be fighting in game 5 for sure. They will be fighting in game 5. I don't think they're going to care if they're shooting hot, if they're not. Like, they're going to make it an ugly game. That's how the Heat can win. They got to make it an ugly game. And with Porzingis out, it can be that. But it also can be a clean game, a lot of ball movement with Al Horford. Al Horford knows how to shoot. Al Horford can drive to the basket. Al Horford can switch out on a 4 or even maybe on a 3, especially without Jimmy Butler. He can switch out on a small forward here and there if he's not left out on the island. I think the Celtics I think they take it home. I think they know the severity of this game. Because if it goes 6 or 7, no matter if they win or not, it doesn't look good. So that's that for the Celtics. I want to get back to the rest of the NBA. A lot of good basketball was played last night. Listen, Darvin Ham, you gone, bro. I hope not, because, I never want to see black coaches go. But he's been getting killed this entire series on social media, in the press, even by his own players. Anthony Davis kind of shouted out the coaching. He didn't say Darvingham specifically. So the coaching, as a team, sometimes they didn't know what they were doing. But, last night, the Nuggets eliminated the Lakers 4-1, 108 to 106. And it's funny because Jamal Murray dealt with a calf injury. He still played. Caldwell Pope had a bad ankle sprain, but he came back. He tried to come back. He didn't really do much when he came back, but he still fought. Injuries been hindering the Nuggets so far. Anthony Davis seemed like he had a stinger in his shoulder, but he stayed in the game. Offensively, he wasn't doing too good. I'm gonna keep it short, man. The Nuggets don't look as scary without Bruce Brown. Shout out to Boston. They don't look as scary without Bruce Brown. Michael Porter Jr. He's the X factor. I mean, Aaron Gordon too. Aaron Gordon is kind of the guy that makes him still a tough team because Jamal Murray, he's a scorer. The Joker, he's a scorer, he's a passer, he does all of it. He didn't have a good game last night either. Had a lot of turnovers. And Michael Porter's a scorer. Caldwell Pope is a good defender, and he can shoot. But he's a role guy, kind of a journeyman. But the Nuggets, they struggled, and I think the Lakers had their number if Anthony Davis could stayed healthy, and if D'Angelo Russell started stepping up a little bit, making some more shots, becoming a little bit more aggressive. I think Austin Reeves was the third option, the best third option on the Lakers. I think D'Angelo Russell was like the fourth. So it's tough for Darvingham. He didn't really. I can't say he didn't have much to work with because he's in the Western Conference, so it's tough. Strong conference. But you got LeBron James, and any coach that has LeBron James has high expectations. The man could be 50 years old. If you get put out in the first round, it's the coach's fault. I mean, LeBron James, he was playing amazing the entire game, the entire series, honestly. Anthony Davis played well too up to his injury, up to getting hurt, and staying in the game. So that's that. The Nuggets move on. They'll face Minnesota. And speaking of the rest of the league, OKC sweeps the Pelicans. I expected that. Shout out to Zion. He's never going to play 82 games. He's never going to play every game. He's always going to have an injury issue for most seasons. Every season he plays, unfortunately. OKC, the number one seed in the West, they're looking like the number one seed in the West. They are. They won 97-89 over New Orleans last night. I don't really have much to say. We just got to see what happens moving forward. The rest of the league, 76ers versus the Knicks. It's tonight at 7 p.m. The Knicks leading 3-1 over the 76ers. It's going to be in the Garden. Listen, man, I don't got nothing crazy against the Knicks. I am a Boston fan. I'm from Boston, but I think the Knicks definitely have a chance to take it home. I think they will. I think Joel Embiid's injury is just too much for him. He's been limping, and he's still been getting buckets. Tyrese Maxey, he's been doing all he can. It's everyone else on the team that hasn't really stepped up, or they just can't step up. Jalen Brunson's just insane. Josh Hart, even without Julius Randle for the rest of the season, I don't know how far the Knicks are actual contenders to win it all. I don't think so. But to get there, I think they have a chance to get to the finals. I can't lie. That game's at 7 p.m. tonight. Next is the Magic versus the Cavaliers. Series tied 2-2. It's at 8 p.m. tonight. I don't really have a critique in this game. I think the Cavs should win this game. The Magic are hungry. Low expectations. Anytime you got a team like that, it's tough to get out. Yeah. So I think the Cavs win. I think the Cavs win tonight. And it's at home for the Cavs, I believe. The Pacers versus the Bucks at the Bucks. Pacers have been smoking the Bucks. Bucks have been having injury problems. Uh, Pascal Siakam, Halliburton. Yeah, it's looking bad. It's looking bad for the Bucks. Let me say this. I was talking to a friend, Core. Shout out to Don Core. He said something interesting. He said, "Don't be surprised if you see Giannis on the Knicks next year." First, I heard it. I was like, "What is he talking about?" That doesn't make sense to me. Then I'm starting. I looked a little bit. I'm looking a little bit more into the Bucks, into Giannis's career after he won his first championship. I'm looking at how the season's going, even before this series. With the coaching change mid-season, it's like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Where the Knicks are heading, Julius Randle, the injuries he's been dealing with. Looking at Giannis, how his career is right now, I think if they go out in the first round, I don't think Giannis remains a Buck. I do not. I don't even know if Dame remains a Buck. I think who Dame is, he doesn't seem like a guy that wants to go city to city. That's just how he is. That just doesn't seem how he is as a person. I don't think he stays there either. I don't know if Doc stays there. We're gonna talk about Doc too one day. Not right now, because he won Boston championship. So shout out to Doc. He gets grace. He gets a lot of grace on Boston. A little bit more than he should. Pacers at Bucks. I think Bucks win. I don't think the Pacers aren't beating the Bucks in 5 games. Stop it. Stop it. I think they beat them in 6. I'm gonna be honest. I had the Bucks winning the first round, but it's looking different now, especially with the injuries. That game's at 9:30 p.m. tonight. Mavs at Clippers. That is tomorrow at 10 p.m. That is not tonight. That is tomorrow. That series has been insane. It's the 4 and 5 seed. Anytime you get that, it's gonna be tough. Series tied at 2-2. Kyrie, amazing game last game. Amazing game. They came back. They just couldn't win it. James Harden looked like old James Harden with the floaters, the running off the screens, getting by defenders, hitting 3-pointers. Paul George, smooth game, step backs, making tough shots, even without Kawhi. I don't. Without Kawhi, I got the Mavs. Even though they won, even though the Clippers won without Kawhi last game, I got the Mavericks if Kawhi doesn't play. Kawhi plays, I got the Clippers. Now, yeah, I go back into last week with the Patriots. The NFL draft happened. And the Patriots, with the third pick in the first round, selected Drake May from the University of North Carolina. I said the United States. University of North Carolina. It's quarterback. We needed a quarterback. That's not a question. I was looking at his stats. I was looking at some of his highlights. He's good. I was kind of killing him on Twitter at the time because I was mad. I was mad we didn't get Caleb. Who's that? Who's in Pittsburgh now? What more could they do? I think he has a chance to be good. He could use his feet a little bit. Bill Belichick broke it down on the Pat McAfee show of like his strengths and his weaknesses. In the pocket, he kind of needs to work on his footwork, some of his arm strength, his decision making, quick decision making. And we got to be honest though. One thing. Well, also they drafted Joe Milton, the third quarterback from Tennessee, round 6, pick 195. I think that kind of got more eyebrows raising for people because it's like, wow, you picked 2 quarterbacks. And you already have Jacoby Brissett that you picked up, who can be a starter. They don't want him to be a starter. They want him to be a second string quarterback. The first string gets hurt or something goes wrong with the season. He's shown that he can turn the season around and be a playoff quarterback. So that's a great pickup. He was already with the Patriots. I'm sure he has a good rapport with Gerard Mayo, the head coach now in his first season. So I like Jacoby Brissett being the veteran quarterback on the team, and they picked up 2 quarterbacks. They picked up a lot of offensive guys. They picked Jalen Polk, wide receiver, Kadon Wallace, offensive tackle, Layden Robinson, guard. They put in a lot into this offense. Do I like that they put in a lot of young guys, rookies? and not trading for anybody. Don't love it because NFL isn't really one of those developing leagues, I feel like, anymore. I mean, yeah, guys have short lifespans, but they needed a line. They needed some wide receivers. I would have loved if they picked Marvin Harrison the second. I would have loved if they picked Marvin Harrison Jr. But they did it. They had a chance to, but they picked a quarterback and they needed one. They picked two of them. Uh, here, we got to be honest. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with Drake May. I don't know what's gonna happen with Joe Milton. I got a chance to look at both of them. Both of them have good qualities, and both of them have some issues. I mean, most of the issues are just rookie issues. Decision making, leaving the pocket too fast, or staying in the pocket for too long, or not making a quick enough decision on the first read, the first option. You know, like we're not gonna get a special guy. We're not. Like we're not gonna get a Patrick Mahomes. We're not gonna get. You know what I mean? So I think hopefully, I know I'm shooting in the dark here, but it'll be interesting if we get Shador next season for the draft. I would love that more. We'll speak about that a little bit later, and see how the season progresses. But I think the Patriots did a good job in the draft. I think they did the best they could. Yes, I think a lot of people are killing themselves over that they didn't pick Marvin Harrison, but we needed a quarterback. And Jacoby Brissett is a veteran, but he's not. He's not the number one guy. He's not a number one guy for a long time. He's not the franchise guy. Therefore, we gotta go to the draft and see if we can get a guy from the draft. I mean, I'm not happy that I feel a little weird that he's from UNC. I looked at his stats, and last year he did okay, but the year before he did way better. Makes you kind of just like, huh? What are we gonna get this season? His rookie season. Did he get worse? Is he getting worse? I hope not. I hope not. But I think the Patriots did the best they could in the draft. And that's all you can do in the NFL draft. Who knows if half these guys even make the roster? So, nonetheless, we'll see how the season progresses at that point. Next, last, URL TV. We switching to battle rap. I said power to the people. We back and do maintenance early in the show. Loaded Lux versus Rum Nitty, highly anticipated, man. I'm gonna dive deeper into the battle when we get closer to it. This is for Summer Madness, I believe. Listen, I love Rum. I like me. I punchlines, all that good stuff. Loaded Lux could do it all, and a little unfairness to Rum Nitty. It's just like, you know, Little Lux also has the effect of he hasn't battled as much as Rum, but he stayed active enough where we want to see him, and he doesn't have. I don't think he's gonna have too much ring rust. So I think it's an uphill battle for Rum. I think Rum, if I had to guess, make some early predictions. I think Rum's gonna try to do more than punch. I think he's gonna try to do some angles. I think he's gonna try to do some extra stuff, and I think it's gonna hurt him compared to Rum. I mean, compared to Lux, because Lux is so technical as a rapper. But I also know a couple of other matchups on the card. It hasn't been announced yet, so I can't necessarily say them. But it looks like it's gonna be a good card. I believe this is gonna be in Orlando, Florida. So hopefully I get out there. We'll see if I'm able to find my way out there and watch. Nonetheless, man, that's it. Episode 16 of the Brown Bostonian Show. I'm your host, Kevin Parrington Turner. I promise I am going to try to be more consistent. I moved here, so a lot's been going on. A lot of good stuff, by the way, not bad stuff. It's just a lot of busy stuff. But I'm gonna try to be more consistent with y'all, man. For the people who do watch, probably a little bit, but once I get it down, gonna push the show forward, gonna push make it better for you guys, make it better listening experience, watching experience, I promise. But right now it's just getting back to the group, getting back to everything. But the Celtics, Definitely gonna be updating you guys on the playoffs, on the series. Follow the blog too. I've been writing on there too, on the blog. If you don't see me here, I probably wrote something on my blog instead. So, nonetheless, I appreciate everyone. Please watch, subscribe, share, like. I appreciate y'all. See you next week. Peace.